This is my Masterbuilt Smoker. It's an MES-40, and you can see it gets a fair bit of use. I have now had this for, I want to say 5 months, maybe 6 months, 5 months, something of that sort. And I've cleaned the window once. I scraped it off with a razor blade and some water and vinegar, but it's somewhat pointless in cleaning these windows, just basically an aesthetic thing. I do take the racks out and clean those after I smoke, and then I normally clean out the bottom sauce tray, the liquid tray, and then this very bottom tray I've never actually taken out until just now. I have nothing in my drip tray, this pull-out drip tray at the very bottom. There's nothing in there because on my smokes, as you can see at the bottom of the pile here, I use disposable pans as catch pans for whatever grease. Tonight I did 3 racks of ribs, and so a little bit of it missed the pan and got all the way down to this bottom pan, and you can see that it's stained on there and a little goo on there. We'll clean that up, and a little of it got into the liquid pan there as well. But those grates definitely need to be cleaned. The bottom ones are the ones that were on the top of the smoker, so the very bottom one was the topmost, and the very topmost one here was the bottommost one in the smoker. That's why it's pretty clean. But those will get scrubbed. Otherwise, I really haven't been scrubbing it. And so I figured it was about time to get in here to clean that little nub there, to clean that little button there, to make sure that my temperature gauges are operating correctly. I do also take a scrubby to the meat thermometer. You can see there's some chunks built up on that. And I use a mixture of water and vinegar, a non-scratch scrubby, a washcloth, and depending on how badly this is stuck on, I may go get a razor blade and clean that off. And that's how you clean your Masterbuilt Smoker. So I took and put some vinegar and water on the window, and then I have this razor blade, straight edge, and you can see with just, I'm not even holding the door, just a little work, it comes off super easy. So cleaning these windows of the Masterbuilt Smokers is not difficult, but as you can see, I don't spend a lot of time doing it. I usually don't do it between smokes because frankly, once the smoke gets rolling inside of here, it's dark enough on the inside, plus with the smoke, you can't see what you're cooking. You're not looking to cook. Cook by time, cook to temp, and don't worry about what it's looking like while it's cooking, because it's the temperature, internal temperature of the meat that matters. The other thing I would mention is the reason I use vinegar and water and not anything else, I don't use a soap or anything for that matter, is because this is all going to be in a food environment, and I don't want something that's going to leave some sort of residue that could make me sick or any of the people eating my food sick. So the vinegar and water works tremendously well. I use a 1-to-1 ratio of white vinegar and water, and you can see it's dissolving. It used to be clear. It's dissolving the stuff that I had in the scrubby that's in there. There's a blue scrubby down here at the bottom that I was using to scrub on the inside a few minutes ago, and now I'm letting this sit, and the vinegar and water is doing a little bit of work, and I'll hit it one more time with the scrubby. I cleaned off my temperature nubbin and button so that my temperatures are accurate. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing, cleaning my Masterbuilt Smoker. The final step worth mentioning as you clean your MES, your electric smoker, throw open your vent wide open, and then turn it on. I put mine up to 275 and it's been running now for, I guess, 17 minutes because I put 2 hours on it. And bring it up to temp. Get it up above 212 degrees and let it sit there for a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have to reach the 275 mark. But what you want to do is, you can see there's some liquid way, if you can see, it's hard to see, bubbling way back in the corner where the wall meets the floor. Not sure if you can see that bubbling in there or not. Not even sure if I could zoom in and get it. Oh yeah, you can see it there. See that moisture? Blah, 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 blah. You want to evaporate all of that out of there, so that as it sits, and I've got a cover that sits there, it goes over this. So as it sits there, it doesn't sit there with moisture in it. And that's how you clean your Masterbuilt 40 or your Masterbuilt 30 smoker. Probably the same for the propane ones, although there's a little bit of different interior on those. But to get them clean, that's how you go about it. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Those glass windows there, they're as much a nuisance as anything. They're really more about marketing. There's nothing they serve functionally to help you smoke. And frankly, they're just something more to clean. So truly, if I was to make a recommendation to Masterbuilt, it would be quit putting these stupid doors in. I do not have the Bluetooth Masterbuilt for the very purpose that their Bluetooth is not worth having. It has no range. So I don't bother buying it. What you're better off doing is buying another temperature probe, a standalone probe, one that you could use inside the house in your oven, in your smoker, on your grill. One that has multiple probes and far better range. Tap-A-Q, and there's a whole bunch of others out there. Just look on Amazon and you'll find plenty of choices. And so that's what I would recommend if you're looking at buying one of these. I would highly, highly, highly recommend buying the Masterbuilt 40. The reason for that being, you can fit full racks of ribs in there. You don't have to cut your brisket. You don't have to get creative and like bend over your brisket over a beer can or something inside of there so that it'll fit. Or the alternative be cut them. You can cook the full size ones. And then the other thing is, with two of the disposable drip pans you can get in bulk at Costco or Sam's Club, they'll catch everything. If you put them side by side, they'll catch everything dripping off. And one does most things, two will do everything if you're doing a lot of smoking. And having the 40, there's just no replacement for displacement. The more space is definitely a thing. If you're going to be cooking for large groups of people, the Masterbuilt 40 is worth saving some money up, waiting another month or whatever it takes so that you have the money needed in order to buy the larger unit. That's not to say the 30s are bad. They're not in any way bad, but they are limiting, or at least more limiting than is the 40. People who have the 30s regularly will say in online forums, man, I wish I had the 40. And so size matters. What else can I say? Go with the bigger one. And that's it. So you can see mine is almost done cleaning, almost done evaporating the water out of the bottom. I can see it's almost done bubbling in there. And I'll go inside now and wash my racks and my trays and all the other stuff that I pulled out of it earlier. And then put it back together and call it a day. Roll on. Happy smoking.